Hey crew, it's Pitt, and I'm back with another MBTI. Today we are going to be checking out the mind of Sean Puff Daddy Combs because not every mind that we look inside is going to be aligned with good. Before we begin, let's talk about the system because you've never seen MBTI done quite the way that I do it. We use these 5 questions to type into this grid. Are you things or ideas? Is it about the things that you can physically touch, the actual sensations that have happened or are happening from now into the past? Or is it about the ideas and the concepts behind that from now into the future? Do you look for the new ones or the old ones? Is it about, hey, everybody look at all these things or ideas? Or is it, hey, everybody look at this one specific example? Do you do that for yourself or the tribe? Is it about giving it to the tribe for them to enjoy first and then yourself? Or is it about you using it and then giving it to the tribe? Self does not necessarily mean selfish. Rigid and flexible is about how you react in the situation. Is it my way or the highway? Or is it let's flex around these other people's ideas and things? And finally, direct and informative. Do you give the whole answer and stop? Or do you give the whole answer 2 or even 3 times and chase a couple rabbit holes along the way? All of these things put together goes into these boxes so that we can understand a little bit more about ourselves. We are looking for examples of ways of thought so that we can identify things within ourselves that we want to change. Hopefully you don't align too much with Sean Puff Diddy Combs, but everybody has things that they think about. Everybody concentrates on these 5 questions. And so we're going to look for some examples and see how it goes. Let's dig it.
Just really kind of chasing him to get to you and him becoming one of my best friends. Like my whole life changed.
By the way, this guy, Andre, apparently is the reason that we even have Sean Combs in the music industry.
You know, from when I saw that first video of you at Uptown. You know, Uptown's kicking it. And my whole life changed because I got to see somebody that looked like me and was from the same neighborhoods, was extremely young, and that was actually doing it from behind the camera because everybody's not a rapper, everybody's not a basketball player, you know, and there's people that's needed behind these different industries. And so I pursued heavy to get to you. And so if it wasn't for Hev, you know, being on the label, me seeing that video, and then me chasing down Hev to get to you, I wouldn't have got a chance to on that first day, to be able to go and get you that tape. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, even sitting here right now, you know what I'm saying, it's surreal that I'm being interviewed by like my mentor, you know?
Okay, so far we have examples, but we also have ideas, right? It seems to be a little bit of tribe, but it's still way too early to determine.
And we only get a chance to like have like one mentor, one person that puts us on. So this is like a dream come true to do an interview that you're asking me questions and you get to say that I've done all these things, because I did a lot of these things to like make you feel proud, you know what I'm saying?
That's tribe focus.
Because you were the first one like to give me a chance and to be, you know, sitting here and to have like made some of myself, and most importantly, to have made you proud, you know, is a feeling that I can't explain.
Okay, so far, we're leaning more towards ideas than things.
I wanted to lead by example. I wanted to like show people that, you know, that you and Russell Simmons and Berry Gordy was giving birth to a whole new generation of cats that were going to appreciate the doors that you guys open. So,
and again, it's specific examples, right? But it is more about the ideas. He's listing these people, but it's in support of the idea of being exposed and getting into the game and becoming the new artist.
I took it very seriously, you know, as far as whether it was getting that tape or whether it was any job or task that you gave me. In the beginning part when I was an intern, and me being an intern, that kind of helped to shape and mold me. I was all.
This story I want you to tell has something to do with your persistence.
Yes.
How did you go about meeting him?
I was from Harlem and I had moved to Mount Vernon when I was like 12. I didn't really know anybody. I knew that I wanted to start thinking about what I was going to do with my life. And
at 12 years old?
Yeah, 12. Yeah, so, you know, I started delivering papers and I had a paper route and started delivering multiple papers. I wasn't supposed to have a paper route, but I made a deal with you know, some of the paper boys in the neighborhood that were going to college, let me deliver your papers and I'll send y'all half the money. So they was with that, and that's really how I started to get my hustle on. And just like I ran to get the tape, I would...
Okay, so that's an idea, right? And it was executed, but that was an idea.
make sure that I put the paper inside the door so the older ladies wouldn't have to come out their house in the cold. So it was always about doing like the best and the greatest.
That's some give experience right there, though, right? That's make sure that you aren't inconvenienced by this thing is giving the experience.
Job I could do. Living in Mount Vernon, there was just one king of Mount Vernon. There was one guy that made it out of Mount Vernon, and it was Heavy D. So I had all my heroes and stuff from Harlem when I moved to Mount Vernon, and then, you know, I saw my first rap star, and I could, you know, he lived in the area. You know, I was so consumed with rap, and I was just so in love with it. And then Heavy D was just so fly, like, and he was a big guy. He was dancing, and he was like almost like the flyest that came out of hip hop.
And so that is some tribe focus, right? You're looking for your examples outside. It's not necessarily about yourself, right? He's focused on making sure that the old people have a great experience. He's making sure that the people who actually have the job that he's trying to hustle on are getting their cut. It's about the ideas. He's given the experience, but he has the idea behind it. And it's a little bit tough.
Individual, smooth criminal, dance a lot.
Now, he is showing a lot of flexibility. He is showing a fair bit of direct, right? He hasn't been chasing rabbit holes. He hasn't been over-explaining. He's given examples, but they are relevant.
Dance a little, shuffle to the middle.
Like, I'm still looking for ideas and things, and new and old. I'm not sure.
Don't block anybody.
But the rest of it seems pretty fair. He has tribe. He has flexible. He has direct. Seems to be right.
Teddy Riley combining R&B and hip hop, so he was just like a guy that I was like, I gotta meet this guy. You know, I would wait around the pizza shop that he would come to. I would just sit outside the pizza shop, and one day he came in the pizza shop, and I said to him, you know, I want to talk to you about being your manager. Like, I went all the way with it. I was like,
How old
you
were
know,
you when you said that?
this is like when I was like 17, you know, and so I'm like, I want to be your manager. You know, I'm not really knowing the game. I'm not really caring if he had a manager. I'm like, you know, ain't nothing but air and I.
All these ideas, right? Not the physical thing. He didn't do the research. He doesn't have the supporting evidence. SI is probably not in it. It's probably going to be an SE-NI interchange here because he's about giving the experience. That's an SE thing. He also seems to be about holding these ideas open. About these specific ideas being the way to go forward, not necessarily holding the ideas open. It's more holding the things open.
Opportunity, I might as well go for the gusto.
Right, like he keeps bringing it back to this one particular idea, right? I saw this rap star who lived in my town, and I decided that I was going to do this, right? That's this idea. Put that in the box.
No.
All of the experiences of how are in support of that is how I'm looking at this.
And then he like kind of like laughed at me. He was like, you crazy, you know what I'm saying? He bought me a slice of pizza, and I was telling him, you know, I really want to be in the music industry, you know, and you know, I'm interning now with WBLS, that was the radio station, but I really, really, really want to get down with you in Uptown. And then I said, you know, maybe you could get me a meeting with Andre Harrell, and he was just like, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. And he's just like, you know, you're a different type of guy. Like, I like your hustle and the way you coming at me. And he said, let me see what I could do.
How many months did it take to do that?
It took like maybe 8 months of like persistence. I remember I went from stalking him at the pizza shop to like, there was like a fork in the road to like where like he would have to veer off to the left to go to his house, but then it was like in a kind of a main street. So I used to just walk up and down that block to hope to see his car to be like, hey, what's up? Like I was on the block. You know what I'm saying? I had no problem with playing myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I had no problem with any of that. I just had my eye was on the prize.
Okay, so that's again tribe focus, right? That is like he's wanting to do these things for him, but it is derived from the tribe, right? He is getting the satisfaction from what the tribe is doing. He is trying to join into what the tribe is doing. It seems very much focused on the external rather than the internal. right? You have your selfish motivations. You use the whole stack all the time. You just use it wrong some of the times, to varying degrees of effectiveness.
And I was excited to see him. I was excited to be chasing my dream, to be walking
Chasing
up.
my dream. Like, that's what we keep coming back to, is that the idea is, I want to be in this industry, right? It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter what the consequences are, it doesn't matter any of that. This seems like the best way to give the best experiences. Seems to be what's going on here. It looks to be NI supported by SE.
Up and down the sidewalk, you know, just making sure I didn't get embarrassed a little bit, and the timing just perfectly.
And that's an experience, right? Pick it up.
Oh, just making sure I didn't. To my dream, to be walking up and down the sidewalk, you know, just making sure I didn't get embarrassed a little bit, and the timing just perfectly. And he drove past me like 3 times. I never caught him there, but I got enough heart one day. I said, I'm just gonna walk up to his house. Like, I need this, how bad I need this. I'm gonna walk up to his house. And
That's definitely probably not SI.
I was like, now you can't ring the doorbell. And then I just made sure that I would walk by his house. And one day he was outside, and I said, I really need you to, make this call for me. And then, he had the cell phone, and I guess, it was kind of big and everything, and he pulled it out, he made the call, and he set up a meeting for me to meet with you. And that took another 3 months, because I would set up a meeting with you, then you would be busy. It wasn't like, it wasn't anything malicious, but the last thing on somebody's priority list was to meet with a potential intern. And I don't even think you knew who you were meeting with, you just had yes.
That's again some flexibility, right? He is understanding the reasoning behind his own desires being not met. That's flexing around the tribe. That is some tribe focus as well, right? There's not a whole lot of I's and me's in this. There is, like, he's telling his story. This is his history about things that have happened. So I'm trying to look for examples specifically of I's, right? I'm looking for examples specifically of these things that have happened, so that it's more about the ideas for him with the support coming from the things. And you can see that, like, he's giving a lot of examples. He's given a lot of these things that have happened, but every one of them seems to be in support of this one idea. I want to be in this business. Here's these things that happened in support of that. That seems to be what's going on here. He's given a good bit of tribe, right? He's looking for his inspiration outside of the tribe. He's looking for his validation outside in the tribe. None of that is an internal thing. So it seems to be that he is externally focused. It seems to be that he is ideas and sort. It seems that he is tribe. It seems that he is flexible, and it seems that he's fairly direct. I'm going to look just for a couple more minutes. We're going to try and see more on the idea side over the things.
A star artist putting pressure on you to meet with him. So I was like, I was going to be patient. I would come to the Brooklyn office, and then you wouldn't show up. And then I just started.
You come to the Brooklyn office?
Yeah, and I just started working. So I worked there for like maybe 2-3 months, like waiting on you. And then I started, packing boxes and trying to get on. So like maybe when I met, that they would put the good word in for me, which
Sounds like a man who would do anything to succeed.
I think they did,
They put a heck of a word in.
And then this is when you're making your transition to MCA. So when I got to really meet you, it was maybe longer than that. It was like maybe a year. And I got a little meeting with you quickly at MCA, so you had changed offices. And
you were on 57th Street and Broadway.
yeah, and I just basically said that, I basically, told you that I don't need no pay, I don't need nothing. My payment is you just letting me be in the room,
And then that first year after summer, you went to Howard and was taking the train back.
And I was taking the train back and forth, because the internship was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And when I told you the internship was over, you came back to me and said, I could still come 2-3 days a week.
Yeah.
I was impressed with that.
Yeah, and so I had to go back to school, and everybody, it was supposed to be like a going away party. But I said I'm gonna work it out somehow, if I could work it out with the teachers, and to be able to leave on Thursday and do my homework and everything, would it be all right if I continue my internship? I said, you don't need to pay me or nothing. And But I think it started giving me like $100, which was very nice, and I appreciate it. But, you know, I didn't need it, you know what I'm saying? Like, what I was getting just, like, being in the midst of just what was going on, because it's not like now, there was only Def Jam and Uptown. You know, there's a bunch of record labels owned by some people of color. At that point in time, it wasn't like that. So to be in a
I'm gonna have to fight this one for copyright. I can pretty much guarantee because of the music.
circle, you know, was just valuable information that, you know, prepared me for what I was to become.
Tell me,
Okay, so again, like, this seems to be very idea-centered. It seems to be very much sort through the ideas, get the best idea, and stick to it. All the supporting evidence goes to that idea. That appears to be what's happening. So we're going to go ahead and do the typology on this. We're going to go ahead and look at it and see what we're dealing with. We're talking about ideas. That's going to put us on the right-hand side of the screen. We're talking about sorting through them. So that's going to put us into the old side. That's going to be all the way to the right. He seems to be externally focused, so that's going to put him on the bottom two rows. And he seems to be rather flexible. So that looking like an ENFJ. And so give me 1 second, and I will pull up the graphic, and we will talk about the last slide. That is the wrong thing. There we go. All right. So the ENFJ, the third slot. The first two slots are how you receive information. You get the information, you process the information, and feel responsible for it. The third slot is how you give the information back, and the supporting thing is the fourth. And so if you are extroverted in this slot, then you are giving away all the information to the tribe, and that means that you are informative. He seems to be direct. That is an internal function, so that's going to put him as an alternate. The ENFJ alternate is going to be very much concerned with and understand and do the ethics of the tribe. It is very, very important to note here that the tribe is not everyone. It is not a specific religious system. It is not a specific group of people. It is who you have decided is important. It is who you have decided is going to be the focus of your life. It can be your family. It doesn't have to be your family. It can be your work people, but it doesn't have to be your work people. But it is almost certainly your friends, right? It's your wife or your husband and your children. That's your tribe. So he is deriving his morals, right, almost not at all, from the ethics of the tribe. His tribe gives him his ethics, and he will act in accordance with those ethics unequivocally. The NI is where you make the best decision, right? So he feels responsible for making sure that the best decision is made. For him, in these instances, the best decision is, I'm going to go into the music industry. And everything went into that box. Everything went into that box. No matter what it takes, I'm going to make it into the industry. And he did. The TI is the third I slot, and that is where you get defensive. You see forward, the best route into your life, and you get defensive over that. If anybody challenges the way that you want to go forward, you're going to get a little bit defensive over it. And for him, that is going to be the logic of the situation, how he personally thinks about things. We've seen some pretty good instances of that already. He has this specific idea in mind. He thinks that this is the best route to go about it, but I'm not sure that for most people, harassing someone at their house in order to get them to call someone else for an internship is going to be the best thing. But for him, that was his logical choice. This guy is here. I can talk to him. I'm going to go ahead and try and make him do this thing. That is very much in line with that. The throat and the SE is going to be the part that you get wrong. Not just get wrong, but you misunderstand it and you miscommunicate it, right? You think you got it, but you don't really got it. And for him, that is going to be all the experiences. He's bringing out a lot of experiences. None of them are really detailed. They are things that have happened, right? But they are in support of the idea. And he's going to have a hard time with the things that have actually happened being relevant or the current things in the exploration, bringing them forward. He's going to miss what some of the options might be. He's going to miss what some of the actual things that have happened might be. Now, he's going to think that he's got that. He's going to think, like, SE is all about giving the experience, and he is going to think that he is giving the best experience, even when he is probably not. What he really wants to do with his life, however, is stand in his morals. Now, the problem being is that your morals are derived from the tribe. Whether you want to think that or not, you make decisions based off of what the tribe has told you. When it's that high in the stack, especially, that's where your decisions are going to come from. So once you have decided, this is my tribe, it doesn't really matter what they do, you're going to align your morals with that. It's not necessarily the best thing to do, especially if you're defensive over your logic, because you may not be making the best yes-no chess. You're missing a lot of the TE, what other people think. That's coming up in a minute. But you're making these logic choices, and you're enacting them based off of your ethics, right? And if you're feeding into your morals, you're going to love it. If you're feeding into what you think is the right thing to do, you're going to love it. You're going to succeed at it. You're going to want to do it. The way that to make sure that you are actually doing that in the correct manner is to feed your solar plexus, right? Your solar plexus feeds your heart. It nourishes you so that you can do the thing that you want to do. The rest of the stack is so that you can do it correctly, as long as you're aligned and fairly well balanced. For him, that is going to be all the ideas. Now, he's going to have a tendency to miss some of the other ideas. There were other things besides music that he could have gotten into, and he has since. But if he correctly gets all the ideas and makes the moral choice, he's going to feel really good about it. Again, his morals are based off of his tribe's ethics. Your morals are based off of your tribe's ethics. The sacral is the part that you're going to intentionally choose the wrong thing. Nobody ever says, hey, I want to do the wrong thing, but people do it all the time. Most of the time, when that happens, it's because of these last two slots. The sacral is the trickster energy. It is the sexual energy. It is where the need to reproduce happens. And so for him, all of this is going to be the TE. He is going to misunderstand the TE, right? And because he misunderstands the TE and he doesn't really get it, he's going to choose the wrong side of that. He's going to hear all of these thoughts, and he's going to intentionally choose the wrong sides of that. There may be some evidence for things like that. The base is where you just completely miss it, right? You intentionally choose wrong in the sacral, but in the base, you don't even do that. Like, you just automatically get the wrong information. You get a lot of information at the top and the bottom. And at the top, it's good information. At the bottom, it is not. It filters through towards the middle, so you don't get a whole lot of information at all in the middle unless you're intentional about it. For him, the base is going to be the SI, the things that have actually happened in detail. It's going to be the organization of the thing. It's going to be making sure that what has happened is factually correct. He's going to have a tendency to overlook that. That, playing in with the TE, means that he's not going to understand the things that have happened, and he's going to unintentionally choose what other people think about that. He's tribe focused, so whatever they think, he's going to buy into. This seems like a fairly good fit. We are going to look for confirmations now. We're going to look and see if he is indeed making decisions based off of the ethics. If he is absorbing and adapting to the ethics of the tribe pretty much flawlessly, right? Now, again, that's his tribe. Andre is part of his tribe. We're going to look and see if he is trying to make the best path forward with his life. Is he intentionally trying to choose the best idea? Is he getting defensive over the logic? If somebody questions his logic, does he push back against that a little bit? Is he concerned about but missing the physical things, the actual things? And then is he completely missing the organization of the things, the details of the things that have actually happened in real life? And is he intentionally choosing the wrong side of the other people's thoughts? Let's dig in and see if we can get those confirmations.
What things did you learn at Uptown?
At Uptown, I really learned about the culture and the lifestyle. I really didn't relate the music to a culture and a lifestyle, you know, before I started working with you. So those were terms that I started.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to fight copyright on this one. Just so anybody knows, this is not just intentionally taking something for redistribution. I am indeed adding commentary.
Started to like learn from you. It was like going to school, and it was hip hop, it was R&B, it was the best of both worlds, and it was like the champagne lifestyle. Now
Here comes the ethics.
you could have the Hennessy lifestyle, you could have had the Colt 45 lifestyle at that time, or you could have
There's some interesting boxes. Let's put everything into an alcohol-derived box. It's very interesting.
had the, you know, drug dealer, baller, uptown record industry, you know, champagne lifestyle. And it was a champagne lifestyle that was just
That's not necessarily putting things into the correct box, right? Things in the box. And so this could be seen as a base confirmation. SI is all about my experience. You get caught up in the base on the wrong side of things. So if you are deriving your satisfaction from the wrong specific thing, that has probably got a lot to do with your SI. Most people who have an SI demon, which is the bottom right here, the base, most people who have that wind up in substance abuse or sexual abuse problems. Most of them. Now, that means that you are more than likely concerned about your personal experience, but you are choosing the wrong personal experience.
different. Like, you was getting money, you was conscious about what you was wearing, you liked dressing up, you probably was gonna move to Jersey and get a condo, but it was like, you know, you were thinking uply mobile. That was the term around then. You was thinking uply mobile, so you was black and you was moving, but you was still going back to the hood. You had that best of both worlds, and but you was moving on up. And so I want.
Okay, so that is a whole lot of what the tribe is feeling, right? That is a lot of talking back about the tribe, and he is trying to fit all of this into the box, not in a glaring example, but there is a good bit of the tribe ethics involved in this.
I wanted to be down with what was moving on up. I
wanted to be down with what was moving on up. That's choosing the best thing, being a little bit flexible on them morals.
Down with like the gritty, like let's keep it real, I'm mad. I wanted to like dance and celebrate and pop some bottles of champagne and get rich and buy me a mansion.
So
that's some SI base.
Oh, let me ask you about this.
Like, there's nothing wrong with those things in general, but if that is your consuming drive in life, you're probably going to make wrong decisions.
This moment, I remember the time you called me, and when you were at the Jodeci photo shoot, and Ernie Singleton told you to put suits on Jodeci, and you called me and you was upset, and I said, don't put suits on them, Puff. Dress them like you, and you saw them just like you. What kind of empowering feeling did that give you?
Man, back then, when you told me to dress them like me, I mean, I felt empowered, but I felt like you was making the right move. So I didn't really look at it as like, oh, I'm getting a chance. I was just like, you know, he's smart, you know?
Okay.
And from the get-go, it was about putting, you know, young people on and understanding their perspective. And I knew it was the right move to bring fashion and to bring like my fashion, utilize my fashion sensibilities.
Everything I watch you
And that's some idea, right? Using my idea.
do coming in the office, like wearing 2 earrings I had never seen anybody do. Your whole style of combat boots and dress jackets.
Yeah.
I never seen anybody do that.
Yeah, but you gotta know, like, if you would have told me to get the tape or get with Jodeci, that's why when I did the cheesecake thing, a lot of people don't understand it. It was like this mean spirit of some asshole shit. Nah, it was separating who wanted it and who don't really want it. Because if you really, really want it, you're gonna treat the tape just like you're gonna treat Jodeci. You ain't gonna wait to get to Jodeci. So that's the only reason why I was saying it wasn't like this breakthrough moment for me, because I was already prepared to go to war for you so crazy that if
That's some tribe.
you told me tape, cheesecake, Jodeci, Janet Jackson, I was gonna treat all of that in the same level of gravity. I just wanted to do my best.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. It's probably not the very best examples, but it seems to fit fairly well that he is an ENFJ alternate. he seems to be absorbing and reflecting the tribe's ethics flawlessly, right? He is doing the thing that the tribe needs him to do in order for him to be successful in the path that he has chosen. He seems to be, this was the idea. All of the things seem to support the idea, right? So that seems to be responsible for the best idea. I see this as the best way forward. I'm responsible for making sure that the tribe sees this as the best way forward too. He seems to be a little bit defensive over his logic, but he is again talking to someone that he admires. This is his tribe. It is the start of his tribe. And so it is, he's not going to have a whole lot of pushback against that. That is just part of being built in with tribe as your thing. If it was a different interviewer, it might have been different, but it's really hard to find a good interview with him, especially these days since there is so much going on in his life. But it does seem to be a fairly good confirmation for the ENFJ. He's about the experience, but it's choosing the wrong ones, probably, based off of my personal ethics and morals. But that doesn't mean that it is something that will naturally fall to anyone who has this thing. You will be more inclined towards substance abuse. You will be more inclined towards sexual needs if you are lower on the scale with that, because you're getting the wrong influence. Hopefully this brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion. If you identify with the things that we have seen inside of Pelfy, the way that he talks, the way that he addresses subjects, the way that he focuses on the idea and brings the supporting things to it. If that is something that you identify with, I have a playlist that will be linked for the ENFJ so that you can learn how to integrate this into yourself. I have a whole system called the Infinite Integration System that teaches you how, through prayer, meditation, and fasting, you can take these things and integrate them into yourself so that you can become the stronger you that you really want to be. How to identify for yourself the things that you keep choosing the wrong thing. If the prayer, fasting, and meditation is just a little bit too much for you, it is too much for some people, I have the MBTI parts that break it down to mostly just the scientific half of this so that you can do the same thing without necessarily having to take the extra steps. This seems like a fairly good estimation, but again, I am not a medical doctor. I am not giving a medical diagnosis. We are merely looking for examples in someone else that we can use for ourselves. We can identify, hey, I think that this is the one idea and I keep pushing forward. Maybe that's me too. Hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion to a somewhat difficult topic. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pit Steak. Peace.